Hello guys, so I received a lot of toxic metaframes the last days and I'm going to share some of them, and you might not immediately understand where I'm coming from, but bear with me, maybe it will make more sense as time goes on. And I want to explain how to navigate this extremely toxic environment that we are in. And you can either, what a lot of people do, pull back intensely, especially if they're hypersensitive, and just say, I don't want to have to do anything with anybody. But then, of course, you automatically get into the libido suppression. And you're reducing your joy, you're reducing your sexuality, and you're kind of like already getting ready to die, you could so to speak. Or you could just embrace whatever is going on as a lesson to go into a high frequency. Or what you can also do is just continue the way you're doing and get hurt more and more and more and more and more. So those are like the three options. Or you're a phlegmatic, which also can happen. You don't care about anything and then you don't have to worry about anything. But then you're probably not on this channel. So how do you deal with all of this? So I give you a couple of toxic metaframes that I experienced the last days. One you will notice under one of these videos here, where there was a guy with obvious PTSD or some form of trauma and libido suppression. And he even wished me cancer. He said, I know you will get cancer. It's an old guy and typical grumpy old libido suppressed person who had PTSD, obviously from his job, from his life, everything. And that's a very clear form of online comments, toxic metaframe. The good thing is that once you understand where toxic metaframing comes from, you know it's not an issue within you. Because especially if you don't know this person, I'm like, no clue. So this person has strong libido suppression and is looking for attacking people, whatever they are. And he thinks I'm even left liberal, which is funny. So, sorry, I have to laugh this out. So, and then I had two women which were pretty close to me. One was Czech, a van lifer who's Czech, and she was right next to me, just a couple of minutes away from me. And I invited her to lunch, just a casual talk. The problem is, well, we get into that later. I was hyper excited because I never met a Czech woman van lifer on the road. So I was like, hey, let's have lunch. And everybody knows I'm like a super chill guy. And so even if I feel like super excited, it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing actually it's exactly the opposite. And I have friends who are like this. They're kind of like high energy excitement, hey, let's go sushi, and like that kind of thing. And most women especially, cannot hold that container, that masculine kind of like, hey, come on, let's do it, and with high energy and so forth. They want the kind of like stoic, kind of like, maybe, that's not me. So, so it went back and forth, and she was kind of like open to discussing and chatting. And then I, offered her the lunch. She completely ignored that. And that's actually a toxic metaframe. And a lot of people, not just women, but people are in general, don't have the capacity to process this and on an adult level, high level, communicate it back. To be like, oh, I just wanted to chat with you. I didn't feel really like meeting because I don't trust other people. That will be open, trustful conversation. A lot of people cannot do that. So whatever she was thinking, whether I'm not good looking enough, whether she didn't trust me, whether she just didn't want to meet anyone, whether, whatever was going on in her field of something, wasn't computing and she wasn't able to communicate that. And the toxic metaframe is that within the conversation, she then at the end had an audio message from me and she completely decided to ignore me and we never chatted again. So that's a toxic metaframe. It's definitely one. It's not a harsh one because she just chose to ignore it. Rather than to say, hey, you're just too ugly for me, or you're just too... No, okay. with the toxic metaframes, there's a lot of nuances, but you will feel it once you understand it, you will feel it in your energy field, like what is truly a toxic metaframe, whatnot. For me, as a kind of like chill check guy, it's very common to just say, hey, let's meet up. And I miss that a lot with girls, nowadays in modern life, because, guys have that. So if I talk to a guy such as, hey, meet up, let's chat, let's have lunch, there's not this kind of like, what's this dude, he's creepy, he's whatever. We don't have that issue. So, it's very hard for me to understand that. And, anyway, so that was a toxic metaframe. So on to the next. There was a Dutch woman who, with a nice feminine container, comes to me and says, yeah, maybe I would like to meet you. And she was very forward in that sense. And then she took a look at my videos, the Awakening Camp videos, and she decided that we're too different and we're not going to meet, which I found strange because she was just meditating before, and she said she's in her Zen kind of place. And of course, I completely accept that she says she doesn't feel it from the videos, and we're too different, which to me sounds strange when she says we're too different if she meditates and feels like Zen, and I make high vibration videos. I don't really understand where we're so different. No, what I think is, my guess is that she had a totally different idea of who she's gonna meet in terms of like visuals or energy, and that the gap was too high. But that was not yet a toxic metaframe. What the toxic metaframe was is she deleted the friendship. So based on my Awakening Camp videos, she deleted the friendship. Which, if she's meditating and feels like Zen in that evening, it's definitely not congruent to her inner state. Obviously, she's not Zen, because otherwise she would say, okay, I don't want to meet this guy for anything intimate or personal, like, but if she says, like, I don't even want to get to know this guy at all, that to me seems like, I don't even want to be friends with him. That's weird, based on the videos. So it is a kind of toxic metaframe. And the harshest metaframe is, of course, from the guy. And I received a couple of toxic metaframes from guys the last 3-4 days. So I just wanted to give you these examples to set off what I'm going to explain right now. Now, obviously, I wanted to manifest something. Okay? Obviously, it wasn't manifested. So what do? Instead of complaining about the people or complaining about myself, that I might did something wrong or they did something wrong, or you have to ask yourself, where is the actual mismatch from the energies? Okay? And so I have to look back at myself and say, like, where can I raise my frequency even more? And there's an interesting aspect to masculine energy, which is I definitely feel that I even only so slightly over-invested in those contacts, even if it was just a little bit, because I don't know these people. So why was I over-investing in people that I don't know? I was already manifesting two very interesting people, in the sense, like, one was Czech, and I was like, wow, joy. And the other one was like feminine container, interested in me. And I was like, wow, this feels very nice. Could be a nice person. But in the end, it didn't materialize. And I think it's because I need to, of course, the first one, need to raise my frequency even more. And the frequency would be then to basically the masculine energy, to contain it within me and only share it when the other person showed that they're worth it. And that's something that a lot of men do not understand or don't talk about. I didn't understand it in the past. I'm just learning it right now. And I've basically just started learning it a week ago, because I always thought, when I express myself fully, when I express myself with full joy, with full presence, with full, I'm here, let's do it, this container is too much for a lot of people. And it's smart to tone that down. It's smart to tone that down. I can experience it for myself, so I can jump around and dance and stuff and be happy. For example, I can like put on music and immediately dance and be like joyful and stuff. When I look at other people, they're not in that field. If I take, for example, my dad, okay, I told him once, I'm like, how about, what music would you love to dance to? And he's like, Boogie Woogie. And then I put Boogie Woogie on YouTube, and he goes like, okay, he has health problems, but it was, you can sense how difficult it is for certain people to get into their joy. And I'm already vibing very, very high. I just do it, and the longer, the more time goes on, the higher I go in the frequency, the more normal it becomes for me. And of course, if you are not able to connect with someone and you close them completely off by deleting the friendship because you watched my videos, as an example, that already means that there is a massive frequency gap. Because unless I get toxic meta-framed by someone, I don't do this. I'm in contact with everyone who respects me, who I'm with good communication. I think I'm usually right with everything that I say. I'm a little bit maybe quirky or strange for a lot of people, but everything that I say, when you understand it fully, when you follow me a longer period of time, you will see that I'm right. And plus, there's another thing, that there is also the possibility that when I raise my frequency high enough, that I even feel that I shouldn't even be in Europe. And that would then lead me to places in the world with much higher frequency, much higher vibration, because actually I feel Europe pretty low vibrating. And I spoke with a couple people that told me, that were also very much into spirituality and all of this, and they told me that most of the high vibe people already left Europe. That is just the leftovers, kind of, that Europe is basically energetically dying, you could say. And if you look at the politics, how everything is moving now, everything that's going on, I don't want to go into detail, you can see that, you can feel that a little bit. So people who are young and high vibrating, high frequency, they're moving out, they're leaving Europe. And it makes perfect sense also, to feel this necessity, because otherwise you have only broken people around you. And yes, so I wanted to share this because I continuously experience toxic meta-frames. I'm not the only one, but I'm also very far out there right now. I'm very much in contact with people. I'm very much speaking with them. And I received another toxic meta-frame which I wanted to share with you. I'm not sure if I have it here. I posted my short experience, and there was a woman who was obviously a narcissist, and she started insulting me. It's like, I'm whining like a little boy, and I don't know what. It was just, but if somebody says like you're whining like a little boy, that's definitely a toxic meta-frame. And you have to be careful of people who are like this, and usually I don't even talk to them, I just completely ignore them. Because there's so much pain. Do you want to be like the container for all the pain in the world? It makes no sense. And as soon as you get into contact with them, it just happens. And that's not a higher frequency. A higher frequency is just ignoring it, recognizing that you manifested the wrong thing, that you didn't manifest the wrong thing. Sorry, you manifested what you needed, and it allows you to reflect and go into a higher frequency. So you never manifest the wrong thing. You always manifest the right thing. You just have to see the teaching behind it, which is go into a higher frequency. And it's very, okay, here's the thing, here's the kicker. It's very, very painful. It's very painful because you get massively triggered. Sadness, whatever, and feeling not accepted, feeling not loved, whatever. It could be anything. And that's a hard school. That's a very, very hard school. Now, in the past, I would have said, try to avoid all of it as much as you can. But then, like I said, and I noticed this in myself, then you end up in libido suppression. And that kills your life energy. So instead of completely avoiding everything, learn to use it for your higher frequency. And everything else that just naturally flows from that higher frequency. And I think the other thing is more of like an avoidance mechanism to grow on yourself. And I'm always excited because the moment you raise your frequency, something new pops up, something super interesting. And you must not focus on the others, because the moment you focus on the others, it becomes tremendously frustrating. Especially as a man, in the dating scene, for example, the women are tremendously flooded with opportunities, infinite opportunities. It's like infinite. And the guys, they're looking, like me, they're looking for quality and also opportunity, but quality. So when I say I want to go to lunch with someone, I just want to have like a little chit chat, little flirt, nothing special, not looking for a relationship. It's just like, feeling the enjoyment of going with someone to lunch, for example. And this polarity between male and female without anything intimate. While I'm looking for one or two nice people, the women are already being flooded with hundreds of men that basically are much better looking, much more interesting, for example, blah, 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 blah. And, they choose those, and those that don't fit what they're looking for, they just ignore that. And they don't even have to think about it. So we as men have a much more tougher time in modern dating than women. 100%. No question about it. But the good thing is that as you raise your frequency, other opportunities will come up that you didn't expect. And the universe will immediately mirror it to you. So, it's very, very interesting, very exciting. And when you see everything as a growth opportunity, and I think that's the highest frequency I can say, when you see everything as a growth opportunity, then your mindset, I call this energy set, your energy set changes, and your experience of life.